Okay, folks, welcome back. I've got yet another replay from my main man, Steel. If you are getting fed up of watching Steel play the game, of which I'm not, but yes, please just send me your replays, right? I mean, the replay needs to be entertaining. That's the only criteria. Because if we're gonna be honest, right, good like battles in War of Dots, they're boring as hell. I've casted like I don't know two of the top players already, and I've casted quite a few games where I've been in the top 200 or so against other top 200 players or so. And once you get like two competent War of Dots players, like the outcome of the game is usually determined by like one or two mistakes, and the mistakes are like gonna be minor. It goes on like one guy mismanages his micro, is cycling, another guy like is not paying attention because you're fighting across like three sectors on the map all simultaneously. It's minor things like that occur, and then the outcome of the game is just the end game is usually just a long battle of attrition. That's usually how it devolves. But yeah, I mean, because of that, I don't actually play the game anymore. I don't think I've played a game in like 2 weeks. But I had like a lot of fun recording the last replay Steel sent me. I think it was the first time I actually laughed out loud watching what was going on. And it reminded me of I don't know who used to make the videos, but it was like this StarCraft 2 caster, and he would record like the low elo players. I know there's also another chess dude who also does the same, where they cast low level gameplay, and it's fun. It's just fun to watch, and honestly, I think it's more fun to watch like the lower level games where everyone's just blundering all over the place, because that's where the battles and maneuver happen, right? So yeah, if you want to send me a replay the cast, hit me up on Discord. You can find me on the War of Dots official Discord. I can't get the direct link from the server and put it into my description below. I will, however, link the official website where you can get the invitation to the Discord. I'll put that down below. And yes, the only criteria is that it just needs to be entertaining, right? That's the only criteria. So, how about I actually commentate on the game? So, we've got Steel in blue on the left, and we've got his opponent Van 1 in red on the right. And I'm gonna try stick with the names and not try switch with the colors. I didn't realize just how difficult it was for someone who's never done like casting before. I always take it for granted when I watch other people cast games. It doesn't matter whether it's like League, Dota, StarCraft, chess, or whatever. I've only just realized that this is not easy. So I don't know how long this game is gonna take. The last game, like I usually put up the replay speed to the max, because if you're going up against like competent players, the games usually take a fair bit longer. But I got caught off guard in the last one, so I'm gonna take it easy and just like speed it up by like factor of 2 or 4. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, before we do that, let's just analyze what's happened so far. So both players have are playing eco, which is good. Although I think red, I did it again. Although Van over here, I think he took some time to garrison the rearmost city. So Steel, I believe, is slightly up in terms of units. Yeah, Steel is also slightly up in terms of troops. That's because of how the exchanges have been going on in the center and the northern flank here. Deployment. So Steel has okay. The deployment of the armor units is basically the same. I don't think either player did any drastic remaneuvering. So we've got a mismatch here in the northern side. Two of Van's tanks against one of Steel's, but it is in forested terrain, and there's only enough space in the hills for one unit to fit in. So there is a tactical advantage for Van up there. Here down in the south, yeah, everyone's still slogging around. Yeah, okay. Lots of cycling going on. So this is good compared to the last replay that I did with Steel. There's far more cycling going on. Lots of reserve units and lots of maneuvering from the back cities to the front. So far, it's both players have gone full lights. It's all light units that have been produced. I think were 3 units produced on each side, I believe. Might be a little bit wrong about that. Okay, we're gonna risk speeding up the replay here. Okay, that should be times 4. Right. So yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. There is cycling going on over here, so it's not a completely lopsided match. We've got Steel and Van both cycling, although Van cycling is much poorer than Steel's. You can just tell by how many units he's got behind, so there's a reserve presence. Of course, this isn't like a fixed rule of law in War of Dots. There was a replay that I casted where it was the number 1 ranked player Girth against, I think it was like the top 10 dude called .com. And .com he didn't do like the whole reserve cycling thing. He just kept everything on the front, and then once a unit was like almost dead, then he pulled it out and then sent it back to the city. And it got him quite a lot of success in the opening of that game. Of course, the argument can be made the plays that Girth was making were like super, super aggressive. That probably was a factor into that, but I'm just gonna put that out there. These are the things that you can consider whether you want to keep a reserve or not. I would recommend you try cycle the reserve, and of course by reserve, I'll explain myself one more time. It's regarding the morale, right? So you've got two health bars. You got 2 bars over the units. You've got the health bar, which is in green at the top. Then you've got the morale bar, which is the blue on the bottom. And if you're attacking, or even if you're defending, once the morale bar is depleted, you want to pull the guy off, and then rotate someone in that has more morale, and then continue the attack. If you're defending, you can afford to keep them on a little bit longer because the attacker will expend morale much faster, right? So this is like the tactical side of War of Dots. This is the micro that you gotta know if you want to really get all the advantages on your side. Okay, so we've got an offensive going on here. A lot of damage dealt there. We had a mismatch of the armor against the infantry on a hills terrain as well, so there weren't any debuffs. Now here we've got some problems going on. Van is attacking through the forest, and both his armor units did not fare that well at all. Yikes. Yeah, you need to be careful with that. So it comes down to the details, right? Just like I was saying before, when you're comparing like 2 competent players in War of Dots, it always comes down to the minor details and to who can get just the slight advantage, and then you can snowball the effect. So in that case there, you really needed to take the time to maneuver your armor units to try put them on terrain where they do, you know, they perform better. So we have massive assault going on here. We have a breakthrough. Front line has collapsed. Steel is pushing in for the southernmost city here. Van has collapsed in a defensive pocket, but it's not looking too well. No, he needs to relieve this because he's been outnumbered. He collapses the northern front. Hmm. No, I don't. I can sort of see the efficacy behind that. I wouldn't have done it though. I'd have preferred to have just kept it here because your city is actually closer to this pass here, so you have like an advantage in terms of power projection. And in the event that Steel does this, yes, come on, he could do it. No, you need to cover the flank. Oh, there we go. All right, 3 tanks in circle, but the southern city is about to go down here. You missed him. Oh no, it happened again. Miss Micro. You could have had the city right there. The keys were right there for you. Oh, good lord. Okay, we've locked out. Okay, Steel's lost two tanks in that encirclement. Uh, oh, good lord. Okay, went off for the city that was further back, undefended. Okay, and that. Well, that was the game. I'm gonna rewind that to get to that part again. This one did come down to just who had the better ability to cycle units. Steel, Steel's offensive, especially in the opening here. Once you start attriting the units down, it gets much easier to then start pressing forward. And then it just builds up the momentum. Yeah, I wouldn't have pulled back that far. But what could have happened as I was watching at the corner of my eye, there was an opportunity to encircle Steel's forces once they started pressing forward into the middle here. But of course, that means that you would have to have microed both flanks simultaneously, and I'm not sure whether Van is comfortable doing that. So we're coming back down here. Yeah, yeah, you can see the casualties. It's 2-1 right now. Trades are not going well at all. Yeah, it just comes down to cycling at this point. Yep, he's got the reserves. Shuffling the armor unit. Yep, okay, rotate back to the city, rotate forward. I think Van is waiting to produce a unit, but I don't think he has a slider up. Okay, so pull back. I like this move. You feint backwards, you draw him closer to the city, and I've done this before quite a few times. And then you wait for your opponent to overextend. But not having a guy on the front line city, that's a recipe for disaster right there. Okay, yeah, okay, you put one on. Okay, thank you. We want to watch for the encirclement that happens because I think there were like two encirclements that happened simultaneously, and then Steel loses three tanks in it. So yeah, okay, so this offensive right here, yeah, no, you need to take the time and swing one. I would have put one of the armor units onto the corner here with the mountain, and put the other dude on the hills tile here, so it holds the center. Yeah, okay. So you've got three cities all ungarrisoned. You've got plenty of units that actually do need to be on the cities. At this point, if I know that the enemy is going to be pushing this hard, I would put a fresh, well, not a fresh unit, but a healthy unit onto the main city which he's pushing on and have that ready. Oh, there is an encirclement that happens here. I didn't notice that. Steve, what's going on? Okay, reconnects. But this guy is attrited a lot. Yep, yep, you need to pull that back. Yeah, these cities need to be garrisoned at this point. And once the enemy has a breakthrough like this, right, and you've already had to fall back this far, you need to put units on the cities. Even if it's just like this dude here who's like almost there, just put him on it. Anything is better than nothing. Okay, here is where the overextension is going on. We don't have any larger units that need to be like around this area. One unit needs to be like put here permanently just to prevent, bad things from happening. Oh, okay, minor encirclement, but now he gets it out. Yes, okay, so this year is good compared to the previous opponent that Steel had in the previous replay that I casted. You don't want to have these units with the attack orders, alright? Just put them there and let the enemy attack you. You get the defender's advantage. Aha, okay, so here we go. We have opportunity. Yeah, you can afford, all right? You can afford to be super aggressive with the encirclements now just because of how the game mechanics work, right? You've got both two cities here. They're exerting a ridiculous amount of power projection, all right? It doesn't show up in the game until you actually like start maneuvering the units, but it is there. So right now, you don't need to be bothered about trying to attrit the enemy units here, all right? If you're Van, all right? Just go for maneuver. And then the game mechanics, the power projection mechanics, they will then take over and they will help you. Okay, so here we have the overextension into the center. If you want to play a defensive battle, one other thing you can do is put your heavy units on the cities and have them garrison. That's a really good strat. If you're going full defensive, that's something you can do. So we have an encirclement here, a second encirclement here. He's attacking to pin this guy so that he can't escape. That's good. Ah, yeah, this was a mistake. You just no, this guy. Oh, okay. You want to build? No, I wouldn't. It's very dangerous to do this. To build units straight on the front line. Uh, yeah. And the southern pocket here, well, they all got massacred. And now he's just gonna snipe the city here. Yeah, you can afford to be out of supply for this long because you're gonna be able to get the city quicker than the supply is gonna run out. Snipes the city, and there goes that. Well, it was. It wasn't. Was it a fair match? Steel has far more experience. That much is apparent. That's what got him the wins here. But if Van just works on his micro just a little bit, and then recognizes when he has the advantage in terms of passive power projection from the cities, I think this would have been a fairly even match. I think if both of them went on and practiced just a little bit more and had a rematch, that would be a very interesting game to see. But yeah, that goes with that. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a comment, and I'll see you all in the next one.